Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to discuss one more method of secondary sewage treatment process, and that is called as oxidation ponds, use of oxidation ponds. Oxidation ponds are also called as lagoons or stabilization ponds. Okay, so they are also known as lagoons or stabilization ponds. In the recent years, a system of sewage treatment is developed where there is use of specially prepared ponds. So oxidation ponds or lagoons are actually specially prepared plants. They are specially prepared ponds. They are especially used in small municipalities. The rate at which they are operated depends upon the light, wind current, temperature, and other local conditions of that particular area. Okay. Now, if you look at the construction or diagram of a oxidation pond, you can see that from one end, okay, from one end, the settled sewage, that means primary effluent obtained after primary treatment, is passed into the oxidation pond. Oxidation ponds are generally shallow ponds. They are not too deep. But deep ponds have been constructed and used, but usually it is a shallow pond. Okay, so you can see a pond like this. Now, from one end, the effluent settled sewage after primary treatment comes in, and from the other end, the treated effluent is removed. So you can see here sunlight. Sunlight, of course, plays a major role here. Oxygen, CO2 also play major roles. Now, whatever settled sewage is dumped into this oxidation pond, and whatever settleable solids or sludge is present in that settled sewage will settle down at the bottom of the pond. Okay, so all the settleable solids and sludge settle down at the bottom of the pond where anaerobic conditions are present. In the same pond, at the top, you can see where there is sunlight and proper dissolution of oxygen, there is aerobic condition. In the middle part, there is facultative condition, and at the bottom of the oxidation pond, there is anaerobic condition. Under anaerobic condition, organic acids, etc. are formed. Anaerobic bacteria predominate, and under anaerobic condition, certain materials, you can say certain organic material are degraded by anaerobic bacteria, some organic acids or other compounds are formed, and carbon dioxide, ammonia are released. Okay, these carbon dioxide and ammonia can be can leave the pond. Right now, whatever raw waste or liquid waste is present, right, bacteria consume or degrade the organic matter present in the waste. What do bacteria do? They degrade the or break down or oxidize the organic matter present in the waste utilizing oxygen. So bacteria consume oxygen, degrade the or oxidize the organic matter in the waste, and new cells are formed, or the number of bacteria increase because they grow on that. They consume the organic matter. In doing so, bacteria liberate carbon dioxide gas along with ammonia, phosphates, etc. Now, the carbon dioxide that is released by the bacteria is consumed by the algae. The carbon dioxide released by the bacteria is consumed by the photosynthetic algae, and they perform photosynthesis. When they perform photosynthesis, when they break down glucose to release CO2, okay, they break down glucose, or you can say they break down the carbohydrates. The algae perform photosynthesis, during which carbohydrates like sugars are broken down, okay, and oxygen is released during the process of photosynthesis. When algae perform photosynthesis, they release oxygen. This oxygen, along with the oxygen of air, is utilized by bacteria to degrade the organic matter, and the cycle continues. That means algae and bacteria are mutually benefited from each other. And algae get CO2 because of bacteria, and bacteria get oxygen because of photosynthetic process by algae. So this is how the degradation of organic matter takes place in the oxidation pond, and the effluent along with some more bacterial cells and all are removed. Okay, so this is the oxidation pond. Oxidation pond is generally a large shallow pond in which waste is added at a single point, either in the middle of the tank or at one edge, and the effluent is removed at a single point from another edge. The ponds are usually 2 to 4 feet deep, though deep ponds like 10 to 20 feet deep have been successfully constructed. The rate of oxidation in oxidation pond is very slow, rather slow as compared to other methods. The rate of oxidation is slow. So the hydrodynamic retention time, the retention time of the settled sewage is more, like 30 to 50 days in common. The process involves two basic steps. Now, sewage contains different types of organic matter, which is utilized by aerobic bacteria in presence of oxygen until the compounds are converted into non-decomposable state. Okay, they are decomposed into smaller compounds. During this process, CO2 is evolved. Okay, stabilization pond bring about aerobic decomposition, and hence there should be a continuous supply of oxygen. Where do the aerobic bacteria get the oxygen from? From the air, from the wind currents, as well as the oxygen that is liberated by algae when they perform photosynthesis. The sewage also contains photosynthetic organisms like algae and some photosynthetic bacteria. They perform photosynthesis using the CO2 that is released by the microbacteria as a carbon source. They synthesize new cells. The CO2 required by algae is supplied by decomposition of organic matter by aerobic bacteria. Moreover, algal growth is greatly stimulated by the nitrates, sulfates, phosphates, which are present in the sewage effluents. Thus, sewage solids entering into the pond are converted into new microbial cells. The oxygen that is evolved during photosynthesis by photosynthetic bacteria or algae, okay, is used by the bacteria, is taken up by the bacteria, and hence bacteria and algae are mutually benefited. This is how the treatment of waste or degradation of organic matter in the sewage takes place. Oxidation ponds are generally used for treatment of settled sewage, which has been given already primary. Now, there are certain but disadvantages with lagoonization. Okay, it requires a large land space, number one. So it is possible to use an oxidation pond where large grounds are available, like in small rural villages and all. It is an inefficient method as far as removal of fecal bacteria are concerned. Now, algae that flourish in the oxidation pond may sometimes die. Okay, of course, algae may die. And if the dead algae are not removed from the lagoon, then they themselves become organic matter in the sewage effluent. Dead algae should therefore be timely removed from the lagoon for healthy lagoonization. Otherwise, they themselves become organic matter and can create nuisance. But what are the advantages of using oxidation pond or lagoons? They can achieve required degree of purification at lowest cost with minimum maintenance by unskilled operators. Okay, so required degree of purification can be achieved with low cost, minimum maintenance, and by using unskilled operators. Removal of pathogen is also considerably higher. They are effective in treating wide variety of industrial as well as agricultural waste, and they can be easily designed. So they are generally used in small municipalities or small villages. So that is all about the oxidation pond.